Oh, we're live. We're live. Good
Hey,
afternoon.
What's
Good
going on, people?
evening. Good
hey,
morning to wherever you are in the world.
wherever you are,
All hours
hello,
of the day.
hello.
Hello, hello.
Yes. Welcome to the next Power Generation panel. I just want
Woo!
to open with expressing the utmost gratitude to D'Angela, Arthur, and team for creating this space for younger folks to just kick it and have our voices heard. I'm super honored and even surprised that I was even asked to moderate this panel
Um,
and this dope conversation that we're going to have tonight. But I just want to say that I admire everybody on this panel, and I'm so psyched to just talk with you guys and celebrate diamonds and pearls. Super deluxe. And without further ado, I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to get into introducing the folks that we have here. These bona fide younger. I don't know. You guys are just amazing.
Wait,
That's all.
wait, but India, before you do that, introduce
What?
yourself, though. Introduce yourself.
yes.
I'll introduce myself. My name is India. I go by Miss India on Twitter. I'm an archivist by day and a Prince enthusiast by night. So, and a hip hop head by night as well. So I move between a lot of worlds, but it's not about me. It's about y'all. We're going to get to y'all. I'm going to start just like Queen Latifah says and Moni Love, actually, both of them. We're going to start with the women of our panel. We're going to say, ladies first. Ooh, okay. We're going to start with who I see first. I'm going to go with Alena. Please introduce yourself to the folks live and direct.
Hi, everybody. My name is Alena. I go by the one. You might have seen me on either YouTube, Instagram. I dabble with Facebook. I dabble with TikTok. I'm pretty much on everything about now. But yeah, I make Prince content from here, time to time when I can. Yeah, I have fun with it. My love for Prince is what drives me to do it and will always drive me to do it. So I'm happy to be here with all these beautiful people. I know we're expecting one more.
Yes.
They'll be dropping in later, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm so excited to just shoot the you know what.
We're going to do that today.
Yeah. All right, Mila, go on and introduce yourself to the peoples.
Yeah. Hi. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh, you smooth. Yeah, you
Okay,
smooth. You smooth.
Cool. Yeah. I'm Mila. Just a regular Prince fan. I've been tapping in with D'Angela's book club for the past year. That's been super fun. But yeah, just been listening to Prince since my preteen years. I don't really post too much content. I posted one video.
And it was
That you murdered. That you murdered,
Yo,
though.
that is some talented video. It's a talented video. I'll tell you that.
I know. But yeah, just here having fun and just excited to talk about Prince and this bomb box set.
All right. And we're missing one person, Jesse, who will probably pop in later, but more power to him. We're going to start off with one question that I feel as though
India, Miss Ma'am,
Yes.
Mr. Randy.
Oh, Randy. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Listen.
This is raw.
Hey,
Randy,
listen. This the after hours of the celebration right here.
I gotta make up for this. I am so sorry. Let me say this. Randy is one fourth of the Purple Townhouse crew.
Yes.
Which I am a part of as well.
Yes.
You all know me from. And I just go on and introduce yourself. Randy. I'm so sorry, brother.
Nah, it's all good.
My nerves are taking over.
It's all good. Hey, listen, this is why I told you we prepped you for those two Purple House events, so where you good today. But it's all good. Peace and blessings, everybody out there in the internet, out there in the world. My name is Randy Ferguson. I want to say thank you, D'Angela, for just hitting me up and saying, "Hey, Randy, you want to do this?" And I was like, "I've been wanting to do this since I stepped foot last March in the symposium." So I'm just honored and blessed to be here. Been a Prince fan. I'll say this because in the first Purple Townhouse edition, if y'all haven't, go follow us on Twitter at Purple Townhouse. But I think it's on India's page if you want to go back to the archives and see the first episode of how we all got into Prince. Shout out to Chloe for being on that episode as well. We all talked about how we got to know Prince, and I got into Prince even though I knew him as a kid with like the hits and I Want to Be Your Lover and all that, how I really got into Prince was after the death of Michael. And I really got into Prince, and I just from there on, I was like, this guy is incredible, a genius, all the above. So I just went head press full on with Prince, and here I am talking to everybody that has known him for 40 years all the way to yesterday. So yeah. I'm blessed to be here. Again, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Poppy Fun Groove. I'm also a DJ and a playlist curator. If you like playlists, if you're trying to get deep, now my playlists are not like 50, 60 songs. They're concise, they're conceptual, they have a focus. So if you want to get into the playlist, you can find me at Curated by Randy. So that's enough about me. Let's get into Prince.
DJ. Awesome. That's my DJ. Anyway, all right, let's start off with our first question of the night. I would love to add context when we're talking about our experiences with Prince as the next power generation. I want to start with like our initial listening experiences. I'm curious to know what your mood was like when you first listened to the Super Deluxe and how you approached your listening experiences. Like, did you wait for the box set to arrive? Did you stay up until midnight to listen on Friday, October 27th? What did that look like for you? And we're going to start with whomever would like to take that question.
I'll answer first.
Okay.
So I was just giddy. I feel like my entire experience, that's just the perfect word to describe it. It was just a giddy, girly, fun experience. And I haven't had that feeling in a while with a new Prince release where I was just like, kicking my feet up in the air. And it reminded me of when I was like a kid and I'd find a new song or a new album and I would just sit and divulge it. So my initial experience with it was a little different than how I treated it when I got back home. So for those that follow me know that I flew out to Minneapolis for the release party. So I actually flew there with a friend and was visiting another friend who lives there. And we were all sitting on the couch, like completely distracted watching a movie, I think. So I had actually forgot that the album might potentially drop at midnight. It just wasn't a thought on my mind. We're having a good time. And then next thing you know, I get a notification saying the album had dropped and everyone's all excited. And I'm seeing tweets and I was like, oh my God. My friends are like, what is going on with you? The album dropped. And they're all like, okay, we already know movie night's over. Because all my friends know that's why I flew to town. I flew to town to catch that party. Yes, I'm hanging out with you in the meantime. But I came to celebrate my man. Okay. So my friend was like, yeah. We already know. Go to my room, close the door, have your experience. We're going to finish the movie. So that's what I did. I went in my friend's room and all I had was my earbuds at the time. Hey, Jesse.
Hey, how you doing?
All I had was my earpods at the time. So I just kind of plugged those in. And what I did was just shuffle around. So I actually didn't listen to it in chronological order because of the way I was experiencing it with earpods. I didn't want to like read it. If I have a good sound system, then I want to take it like a book and take it from bottom to top. But if not, and I'm just doing like cheap headphones, I'd rather just skip around, find my favorites, and just have fun with it because I'm already not getting the best quality. And then when I get to a good sound system, then I'll hit it from top to bottom. But I just skipped around, and what was fun was I was going to Twitter in between songs and just seeing what everyone else's favorite was. And then I'd be like, okay, well, I'm gonna listen to that because that's Randy's favorite. Or I'm gonna listen to this because India said she likes this one. So I'm gonna go listen to that. So I was just taking other people's tracks and then, listening to them and getting my own opinion about them. But it was so much fun. The experience I had was just giddy. That's the best way I can explain it. It was so much fun. And it was such a great precursor to the party the next day. So yeah, it was great.
I have to piggyback off of that because I did experience this whole. I wasn't supposed to listen to this box set while I was in Minneapolis. I'll just say that I was not the box set. I guess you could say the streaming part of the box set or the Super Deluxe. I was supposed to listen to it when I received my box set, but there was mad delays, and then I caved in because I saw Twitter and I was like, no way. They're talking about a lot of these songs like Lorianne cracked me, so I was like, I had to go, and I had basically the similar experiences, just like. Moving through all of the songs and not taking them in chronological order at that point because I wanted to save that for the box set. Right. So I love that you were real about that because some people will be like, well, I just, you know, I listened to it, but you know, won't go into a huge description about how they listened or they curated their experience. So I'm so glad to see that I had another person I could relate to with that, because I thought I was the only one that listened to it like out of its normal chronological order. So that was great to hear from you. Randy, you're nodding a lot. I'm going to let you go. Well, wait, actually, let's introduce Jesse first before we get into this, the meat of this conversation. So, Jesse, go on and introduce yourself. So happy to have you here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I'm sorry again for being late. I had computer issues.
No
I'm
problem.
Jesse, longtime Prince fan, friend, whatever you want to say. And I love this album. I don't know if you're just giving like just introductions about who you are.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm just I'm a writer, poet, organizer. I particularly just write, but I also used to make videos a lot. That's how Prince saw my videos online on YouTube. So I do make videos on occasion, but I primarily write, organize, and sew buttons, I guess. So, yeah.
Jesse is the OG of us all. Yes.
He doesn't even know. He doesn't even know. I'm gonna say this really quick, and then we can move on. But Jesse, I don't know if I ever got a chance to tell you, but you gave me my very first bootleg. You sent me my very first bootleg when I was in.
Wow. The police is listening. The police is listening.
Late middle school, he sent me my very first bootleg. He said, "You've never heard of Small Club?" I was like, "No, I never heard of
Oh, you got Small Club. Oh, nice.
I do. Wait. Yeah, that's the thing that I think every person, if you're a fan, you gotta listen to that.
Oh, you got to. Yeah.
The whole dynamic of how Prince approached his live performances. So I'm glad that that's crazy.
I know.
I shared a lot of bootlegs.
Can we stay on Small Club for a little bit? My favorite track on it is Housequake. It's because of the synth work. On the right channel, if you listen to it, it's just there's so much funk. Like it just encapsulates you on Housequake. So I just had to stay on there. I'm sorry. I love Small Club.
It's okay. We've been for rabbit holes and full circle moments. But I forgot. Oh yeah, I was back at you, Randy, with your listening experience.
Hey, brother Jesse, it's good to be on a panel together. Finally, finally, right?
Long overdue.
No, it's been long overdue. Anyways, when I first listened to it, I listened to it after midnight, because I already had it in my library for a minute. So just like Alena, when that notification popped up, I was like, oh, it's about that time. So I texted one of my Prince group chats, shout outs to the Purple Disciples. I hit them up real quick and I was like, y'all listen to it? It's like 12:01. Y'all listen to it yet? Just like, I'm about to listen to this joint right now. Now, I jumped around as well. I didn't listen to the album because already when it was dropped on Dolby Atmos, I was like, let me listen to that. It was early October. Now I have AirPod Pros, and if I could talk about the Dolby Atmos experience on that for a minute, it's a good experience, I would say. Again, it is designed to play Dolby Atmos. Like tracks like Thunder, I did not know there were certain elements in that track very deep in the mix, and every time I heard about Prince and his mixing abilities, he's always putting stuff way deep in the mix, and when it pops out, it's like, oh, I did not hear that before.
Yeah.
And a quick example, like when you talk about Boots, right? I know earlier this year that Love Sexy stripped down mix was dropped, and I tell you, on Love Sexy and Alphabet Street, it was like, oh, that was there. I did not know that. So it was just interesting to hear Thunder, Live for Love, having instruments just pop out. Like I didn't know it was in a stereo mix. So I got that experience out the way, and then when the Deluxe edition dropped, this baby right here, I waited the day next. But again, listening on midnight, I went to the B-sides first and the edits. Because I was like, okay, let me listen to the 10 minutes, damn near 10 minutes mix. So I don't think I had that on boot. So I was like, all right, let me listen to that. And I was like, oh, this is pretty much a stripped down version of Get Off, and I love it. I love it. I was like, I see why he gave it to the DJs first, and these was playing in the club, and my man was like, oh, I'm gonna take this back, work on it a little bit, and drop it on the album. So cool. Shout out to the DJs on that. And then listen to the mixes. I got to the Will and Able video version. Oh my gosh. I know the video back in and out of my head, back and forth like a cover, right? When I was saying I was playing the video in my head while the audio was going on, I was like, this is such pristine audio quality. Oh, of course I was doing all that, right? I was doing all that. I was like 15-year-old Randy would be so happy right now, because I would take the edited album, the album version of the album, take that out and put the video version when I was listening to the album. So I never really connect with the album version. Even still this day, the album version of Will and Able sounds weird to me. But going through the B-sides, and then I went to the vault. By that time, it was about like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, okay, I don't think I could sit through 3 hours of all of this. By the time we 4 o'clock in the morning, I'll be tired. So I was going through some of the stuff that I didn't know. Of course, when I got to Schoolyard, I was like, okay, I know Schoolyard. There's about to be a 4-minute song. I already know about it. I looked at the time. It said 7 minutes. I was like, wait, hold on. Well, let me fix myself up here. 7 minutes. That's when I was like, oh, we about to be in for a treat with these votes, because the bootlegger in me was like, oh, this estate know what it was doing. They knew what it was doing. So let me just fix myself real quick. Okay, I think I should be fine audio wise.
Sound good. That's better.
Okay, cool. I had to do a little edit. So yeah, just to piggyback on the vote side. So Schoolyard, I was going through this one. I was listening to Streetwalker. Shout out to my Michael Jackson fans out there. Also the Streetwalker as well, and that was
they're cousins. I'm just saying that.
Yes, they are. I saw that photo on Twitter. They are cousins. But just going through the votes, I'm not going to talk any more longer. But just going through the vote tracks, it was just mind blowing after mind blown of tracks that I thought I heard on boots that are even a bit more longer or even cleaned up into pristine quality. It was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And knowing that he also did other tracks that I never heard of, that's on the set, like Blood on the Leaves, Tip of My Tongue, which I didn't know that was the Elder Barge track until weeks later after I discovered that. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. The Elder Barge version ain't lit though. The Prince one is. I ain't gonna say. I'm just saying. But just learning all that, it was just cool. It was, and I'm still learning. I'm still going through the set almost every single day, and I'm going to be on this set for a year, because it took me Signs of the Time Deluxe Edition. I went through that for like a year and a half, still learning new tracks. So
for sure,
it's a gift given itself. So that's how I experienced it.
I even think we'll be on this longer than a year. I think there's so much to unpack within the box set. Visuals aside, sonic, fashion, however route you want to go, there's something for everybody in this box set, not just the sonics by itself. So this is going to be studied. Let's just put it out there for years to come. I mean, it's the reason why it's the number one box set out of 20, so we're going to go on to Mila. Can you share your first experience listening to Diamonds and Pearls with us?
Yeah, I waited until the album officially released. Like when they released Alice Through the Looking Glass, I was on that one immediately and I loved it. When they started releasing the other singles, I felt like, oh, I kind of want to wait, because I feel like when a single comes out and I'm scrolling through Twitter or X and then people are giving their opinions, it will start to warp the way I feel about a song. And I've noticed that about myself. So I have actually been very quiet on Twitter and Instagram when it comes to like sharing my opinions or even just looking through other people's opinions. So I kind of took a step back from listening to the singles as they were coming out. And then when they released the Glam Slam live album for streaming, I can't remember how soon before that was, but I was like, yeah, I'm not listening to that. I'm gonna wait. I want to see the visual and not just hear it. So I waited. Yeah, So I did wait until the box set came to listen to it in full. I did go chronological because I had 3 hours. I planned those 3 hours out. But I actually checked out the Blu-ray first because I wanted to start with that so badly. And just engulfed in it. And then as I was going through actually, real quick on that Blu-ray, I noticed like when it starts out with thunder and Maite's up there dancing and then like everyone else is coming in with their choreography and whatnot. I was just like, damn, I really like absorbed in a lot of Prince's like all the happenings that go on for his performances. Because I do try to do that in my own spare time of performing, and I try to take notes from him and Beyonce. So I was kind of like just back in my 13-year-old self of like taking notes again, and like I'm trying to do some of the choreography. I was just so into that Blu-ray. I wish there was more on it, as people were mentioning earlier. But yeah, once I got to the box set, I went through chronological order. When I got to the vault tracks, some of them I actually thought that I would be running to the ones like Martika's Kitchen and really mostly the ones that were on Martika's Kitchen's album and whatnot. But I noticed that when it came to songs that he had maybe given to women later on, when I go and listen to the versions like Martika's version, my ear is actually now with that instead of with Prince's version. So I was actually kind of sad because when the leaks came out and the list was there of like, oh yeah, this might be on it, and I saw Martika's Kitchen and all that stuff, and I was just like, oh hell yeah. But then I heard it again and I was like, oh no. I feel like we're not together anymore because I'm over here with Martika. So that was actually kind of interesting as I was going through the box set. But definitely the way I listen is like I'll give a run through and then I'll find my favorites and then I'll just kind of keep listening to those on a loop. And then once I kind of get out of that, then I'm like, okay, I'll go back and explore the rest again. So I'm definitely back in explore mode with the box set.
All right, Jesse, could you elaborate on your listening experience? Well, initial listening experience.
Yeah. So Diamonds and Pearls actually was my first vinyl that I've gotten from Prince as a gift, actually, in 2010. And, you know, when I first heard Diamonds and Pearls, I was clouded by a lot of people's opinions on the org because I was just a new fan and I was on the org. That's, you know, the only place you could go to get information. And so many people talk smack about Jughead and all of these songs and it did sort of cloud my judgment when I first heard it as an album. But listening to it now, and especially with this release, it's one of my favorites. And I think one of the reasons I really love it is because Prince was 33 years old at the time.
Yes.
I'm 31. I'm 2 years from there. And I'm like, what am I doing? You know, what are we all doing at this age where we can be putting out content like that? Live instrumentation. I mean, that's what's blowing me the most about this album is that these were musicians. And I heard one of the guests say on the panelist how, you know, everything was colorful and everything was very like happy. And I do get that sense, but it's amazing how serious it was as well, because, you know, Prince was listening to make sure everybody was hitting those notes. Yeah. So even though it's very tight and it's very groovy and it's very fun, it's still very serious. And that's what I love the most about this record is like, I can tell Prince was really serious. And I love that he brought the 90s with all of the yellow and the purple and the green. I mean, such wild, colorful times. Yeah. And I do agree, like Michael Bland said, they kind of took him out of that period, because if you think of Love Sexy, which is, you know, one of my favorite records, Love Sexy was the introduction of the new power generation. He's like, you know, welcome to the new power generation. Even though the configuration wasn't the same, he had this idea of having a multiple stream of consciousness type of thing with his band members. And all of them came through with such like tenacity, you know, Michael Bland being so young and Sonny T and, you know, Tony M, all of them really just grappled with all of these sounds in a very unique way, and the blending of the songs, the different types of songs, they really work really well. So when it first came out, or at least the single, I'm still working at a mentor program in Mentor Newark, where I work with students, and obviously we're talking about Prince because this is a Prince exhibit that I do, and the Prince exhibit is just really interesting for them to hear Alice Through the Looking Glass for the first time. They really love that. They're like, wow, this is really groovy. This has really a nice beat. And then when they got into the album, I'm like, all right, y'all need to listen to the album because this is not how the album is going to sound like. If you think the album is going to sound like this, you got to listen a lot more because, you know, there's just so many styles in Diamonds and Pearls. But I think what attracts me the most about this record is just how organic it sounds, how fun Prince sounds, and how funny and just like he's just like putting the guard down. You know, he's giving Tony M the stage. That's crazy when you think about it.
Exactly.
And you know, your boy's the stage to just rock, and just the fact that he didn't really have to play as much. You know, that's one of the things I noticed while watching the Glam Slam performance. You know, Prince is on the guitar like 3 times. For the most part, he's just jamming. You know, and he trusts his band enough to be able to do that. And I think that speaks a lot to his mentoring to his musicians and those who were in his band. Like he learned from them as much as they learned from him. It wasn't just like, I'm the leader. I mean, that's the opinion a lot of folks have about Prince, is that, you know, he's the boss, and clearly he's the boss. He calls the shots, but he understands that he's working with energy. So he's taking from all of the energies that are with him. And so, yeah, I heard the record. I still don't have the physical copy yet. I do plan on that. Not yet.
Hey, that's an investment, man.
No, it's like I'm trying to take some trips first, but I do have, you know, I've listened to it on Tidal. I've been having Tidal since it came out, and I love the Adobe mix. I just listening to things I never heard before, like with Thunder, Live for Love, which is one of my favorite Prince songs. To see what he was able to do with that in the original mix with the rap, and like, you know, let's just talk about Prince and rap for a second. Like
MC Nelly Nell, that's what I call him. That's
what you call him?
MC Nelly Nell.
Why did Nelly know? Why Nelly know?
Because it works well. His last name's Nelson.
I dig it. Oh, I like that.
I see it now with the Nelly Nell. Okay, Nelson.
Like Nelly Mel, like Melly Mel, it's Nelly Nell, you know.
Whoever has that video of him DJing during the Crazy Park parties.
Oh,
We just gonna put it right down there. DJ Nelly.
Hey, look, I saw Prince's last DJ set in Paisley Park. What was it, January 26th? It was for the piano microphone. He was DJing with the other brother, Michael Holt, and they were like battling. And Prince could throw it down. I mean, and his rap, you know, Prince, he know what he's doing. You know, he's not out here trying to be the best rapper. He's just flowing for the song, and I think those flows work. And what he was, and I don't know if we've gotten to this part, but just speaking on my favorites. The song that I have to mention is The Last Dance. Like that rap. Thank you, Samantha. That last rap, man. I mean, the last dance where he's just like, "Come on, baby, dance with me. Come on, baby." I mean, he's just the rhyming flow is funny, but it's like, yeah. I get it. And he's on time. You know, he's not like. That's one thing Prince is never. He ain't never off. He's like on time. He has an agenda. He knows where he's going. And so if you listen to this record, and I recommended this record to pretty much everybody who want to listen to new music, especially people who, you know, we've been wanting Diamonds and Pearls for a long time. This record, it basically signifies how Prince took music seriously, but he was able to have fun. And again, dude was 33 making these tracks. I mean, 32 before it came out, like just constantly always having an agenda, knowing what he wanted and delivering it. So yeah, I dig this record.
I think that's so profound that you said that, because I often go back to, since Renaissance is fresh in my mind after seeing the movie in theaters, I think about, I know we got some beehives in here, okay? And like, I'm thinking about how Beyonce, like in the beginning, she talks about, I have nothing to prove to anybody. Prince had nothing to prove to anyone at that point. And, you know, a lot of people call it a comeback record, but I think it was just him standing in his own freedom at this point of when people considered him a commercial failure. He wasn't. He's like, hey, I could do hits. Don't get it twisted. I'm able to come and do what you guys want, but at the same time, I'm going to make it my own. And you see that with New Jack Swing, with house, with hip hop. You know, he's able to do all of these things and still be himself through and through, where a lot of people would conform to whatever the pressures were around at that time. So I love that about him. I love Prince in that way. We're going to move on to the next question. I think this is a great transition because you talked about playing Alice Through the Looking Glass to your mentees. And I was wondering how revisiting Diamonds and Pearls with these new vault tracks, how did this influence your overall appreciation for Prince's discography and just Diamonds and Pearls as a whole? Who would like to take that question first? I don't want to force you guys. I would call you out, but that's not.
No. I could go. I got notes ready for this one. This one's the good one. So the first part is how did say the question one more time.
No, it's like, how did revisiting this revisiting of Diamonds and Pearls influence your overall appreciation for Prince's discography, and also just Diamonds and Pearls without the vault tracks itself?
Cool. So I start with the discovery, then I'll talk about the album.
Okay.
The discovery. So when I revisited Diamonds and Pearls, and just putting myself in an era, I'm putting on my musicologist hat when I was revisiting the album again, and that's all both ways. In terms of his discovery, his discography of albums, it's an important album in it because it's a template. I like what Arthur said right in the beginning of the stream. He said this is a template of his sound for the next 2 decades. And revisiting that, when he said it, and I revisited that idea in my head, and I said, yeah, that is true. It's not only a template for his sound, but it's also a template where he started really contributing and collaborating with other people in his camp. He trusted people more. At the time, like in the next year when he talked about My Name is Prince, I've been to the mountaintop and it's nothing but just whatever, right? So at this time in 91, he'd been to the mountaintop. He had Purple Rain. He went through all this successful album runs all the way up to 80 whatever, you know. And then yes, he had Graffiti Bridge. He saw the valley. He saw the mountaintop. He saw the valley, and then went to India. Said he had nothing to prove. So in 91, the man had really nothing to prove. But he knew that, if I'm going to be around and knowing that all my other contemporaries are still having success, hip hop is growing. Where am I? Because people still know me. I'm not going to just disappear. I had to pivot, and shout outs to, if I get the names right, Frank DeLeo, Gilbert Davison, Alan Lees. When my man Prince brought all of them together for the Diamonds and Pearls release. And shout outs to whoever made Once Upon a Time in Minneapolis. If y'all haven't seen that channel,
where is he?
Trust me.
Where is he?
They go deep. Where is that person?
Yeah.
Like after this whole thing is done at 5:30, if y'all want to jump on YouTube, jump to Once Upon a Time Minneapolis. They go in extreme details of how Diamonds and Pearls was really marketed.
With audio snippets.
With audio, visuals, all that, right? My man Gilbert Davison said, Prince told me, y'all handle the business, I'm going to handle the music. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a true testimony of where Diamonds and Pearls is at with his discography. It was his album to pivot from his comfort zone. He had to get out of his comfort zone. He had to be on TV more. Like everybody was saying, Arsenio, when he was on, I'm blanking now.
VMAs.
VMAs with MTV, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Super Bowl when he put on Willing and Able on that video for the Super Bowl. My man was on TV. He was promoting the album. My man did not have to go to Jack the Rapper.
No, at all.
To promote it, but he went to go promote the album. He had to get himself out the comfort zone to say, people, I am back. Yeah, Graffiti Bridge, Love Sexy, yeah, whatever. The spirituality stuff, cool. Y'all still gonna get it here, but I'm back. So it was an important album in his discography
Yeah.
to push himself out. And yes, it set the template for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now for the album in itself and how important it is, I do see as a true landmark of 1991 sound, where and in the early 90s, yes, you had New Jack Swing popping. It's like on its peak right now.
Mm-hmm.
Before it's like low-key starting to fizzle out, right?
Yes.
You got post Michael Bad. You got Whitney blowing up.
Yep.
You got grunge coming out of nowhere with Nirvana about to
Mm-hmm.
charm up the charts. Like there's a lot of music going on.
Yeah, gangster rap is on the rise. It's
hip hop. Yes, it's gangster rap is on the rise. NWA,
Mm-hmm.
Ice Cube, all of them are percolating out here. It's a lot of genres going on, and there's Prince, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he had to trust the people coming in because he can do it himself, but will it be mainstream? Will people listen to the music? So for him to trust Tony, Rosie, Damon, his mentor Sonny, and I know we can get to the little Sonny a little bit. His mentor Sonny, Levi had to trust Levi, Levi was like the executive producer for Diamonds and Pearls because Prince, he's like, yo, here is my blueprint for Diamonds and Pearls for those who have the boots. Here is my blueprints for Diamonds and Pearls. I'm gonna give it to y'all to funk it up, and they did funk it up. So it was a collaborative effort, and you hear it. You hear the joy. You hear the band. You hear the momentum, and know that this band is on fire. This band can play everything. This Diamonds and Pearls in itself is a true testimony of what 1991 sounded like to Prince, and he put it out in his own way. I call his New Jack Swing, New Purple Swing. That's what I call it. If y'all want to take that, go right ahead. It don't sound like New Jack Swing, but it do sound like New Jack Swing. So that's my answer to all of it.
I like that. I'm going to go back to the idea of with the new power generation and how diverse it was as far as generational representation. How you had Michael Bland, who was like 19 years old. You had these are these youngings that are coming in also, but there's Prince's mentor. There's all of these age ranges coming together to create absolute freedom and create this alternate purple universe, as D'Angelo so eloquently put in her essay. And then I always like to mention Rosie Gaines' daughter as like an honorary member of the MPG because Prince was running stuff by her. He's like, how does this sound? Do you like this? And so there's all of these ages coming together to create this, not magic. I don't want to say that because as Prince says, that's Michael's word, but this spiritual experience of self-elevation and extreme Blackness that I feel is outstanding to this day. And so with that being said, I want to see if anybody else has any opinions on that question, or we can just move on to the next. No opinions? Okay, we're going to move on to the next. So we're going to talk about personal favorites. I really want to talk about if you were able to curate and consolidate a Diamonds and Pearls vault tracks preview for somebody, for an individual who was never or newer into Prince's work or doesn't hold an infinity towards his catalog past the 80s, what would sequencing look like for you and why? You can only choose 5 songs. You only have 5 songs, but what would that look like for you all? While you think, I'll go first because this probably going to need to marinate in a lot of our minds for a second. I'm going to say Pain because Pain is timeless. And I think it was mentioned before that, it could fit into so many eras of Prince. It could sound like it's in the Come era or the Gold Experience. I think it is just a remarkable song. And the fact that it was randomly on the Living Single soundtrack, Chaka Khan's version, I think that is just absolutely fantastic. I love Living Single. I'm a huge fan of that show. So and then also just the gut wrenching emotions that you hear from Pain is just, it's raw in its form. And for it to just be recorded in 1990, it just doesn't sound like it was recorded then. It sounds again like it's the mid 90s, and it could be in the 2000s as well. It just, again, it has that timeless appeal. I'm gonna go with Alice because it's a guy. I get a lot of guy New Jack Swing, true energy from Alice. So that just is a reminder of what I grew up listening to in my household. My mom's a New Edition fan, it was all New Jack up in the household, along with a lot of other stuff. But I think that's a good essential 90s stamp for somebody that is just getting into that world. Get Blue is quintessential Quiet Storm, Blood on the Sheets / Dark Side. I'm putting these together. Y'all are not going to make me choose because they're the same thing. Literally. One, I just want to say that this is a great part of Prince's creative process. You get to see him work out his views, similar to what Power Fantastic gives us in the Sign of the Times box set. This is what you would get with Dark Side and Blood on the Sheets. And then, of course, I'm a Nirvana fan, so of course I'm going to love the grunge. I just, that's what it is. So I think Hold Me is a great addition just because of the worldly issues that we're tackling today. It feels like a warm hug. And it's a really great comfort song. And I think it's kind of in the same vein of Heal the World, but not really. But it's not as direct, but it still gives you that kind of feel. And yeah, those are my picks to curate the vault songs. I know I really wanted to put Tip of My Tongue on there, but I was like, I gotta make sure this is like well curated, just not for my liking, but for somebody that might enjoy this whole process. And if this is a preview for somebody, I got to give them everything. So it's a great ballad, though. So if not, Hold Me would be my tender heart in that place. But everybody else, who wants to go first?
Well, I'll go, and I'm gonna go because I'm cheating a little bit. So when I saw this question, I had to think about it, but I'm gonna go back to my formula, which is if I'm making a playlist for somebody else who isn't a fan of Prince, I'm gonna go based off their own taste. So, are you a rock fan? Do you like reggae? Do you like New Jack Swing? Do you like rap? I'm gonna formulate it around you and what your own personal tastes are. So, just mad grabbing songs off the top of my head. If I were making a playlist for my dad, first song that comes to the top of my head, I'm grabbing Something Funky because my dad loves funk music, and he is the reason that I listen to bands like Slave, and why I love James Brown and Confunction, and oh my god, I can go on and on and on. But that is my I'm not as much as a hip hop head, but funk is like where it suits my soul. So if it were for my dad, Something Funky off the bat. If it were my mom really loves 80s and 90s, especially 90s R&B. So I'd probably go with Get Blue for her right off the bat. Get Blue. If I'm going with my friend who likes pop, I'm probably going something fun and cute like Martika's Kitchen. So it just totally depends on who I'm formulating the playlist around and for. If it's for me, it's Tip of My Tongue because everybody knows that's my song. Oh my gosh, that was my standout. So yeah, I'll just cut it off there because I can go on and on for different people what song I'd pick, but I just formulate it to the person so that that playlist looks different for everybody.
Yep, and that's the best way to go about it for sure.
That's
all right. Who's next?
Off of what Alena's saying, yeah, you kind of have to, if you're giving music from Prince, you have to do something that folks are kind of like, what are they listening to? That's kind of what I did with my mentees. Like, what do y'all did? And there's obviously the Prince songs that are just like Prince songs that only people who get Prince kind of get. But I do think even those songs hit hard. Like the voice. I mean, that's one of the songs I would have people listening to. Even listen to Mavis' version, but I think Prince's version is just so like industrial, and it has that funky beat to it, but it's also very soulful. I would also recommend Leather for Miles. In fact, when I recommended mentees to listen to Prince, I had them start with instrumental music, like no vocals from Prince, because you'll be listening to a Prince vocal and he'll say something and it's like, wait, what? Or you have to follow along with the lyrics. But I think listening to just the bare instrumentation really gives you an idea of the direction of what Prince wanted to do with the music. So Letter for Miles. I would also recommend Spirit, which is like my favorite. I love Martika's Kitchen. So
I love
the whole
Spirit.
record is just insane. But Spirit, that song, just the energy, and it just sounds like it's so boom, 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 boom. Like I said, a house undertone to it, but it's just it's inspiring you to like, okay, never let your spirit die. So it's in the vein of like Push, which is another inspirational song. And then I would also recommend Open Book, which I've shared this story before, but I'll say it again. That was one song Prince had me check the computer because I was working the teleprompter, having his lyrics shown up at the late 2015. And he's like, did you check the computer? Did you see what I added in there? And I said, yeah, I see you added Open Book. He didn't perform it, but to know that it was on his radar, the fact that he actually put it in there tells me that we would have probably gotten at some point or another Open Book, which that is one of the best Prince songs, just the way it starts, the lyrics, the feel, the vibe. So definitely Open Book as well. So that's what I was.
I could hear that piano on microphone. I could hear that.
Yeah.
I would
come on, like this.
Open Book makes me teary-eyed, period. So
you can't listen to that one all the time. It's
you
very
got it, man.
Your bridge progression on that song.
When I was meditating one time, and it just made me tear. But yes, I love these takes. See, the approach to curating for people is the difference in the variety that each person brings to the table is what makes me like super happy to hear everybody's perspectives. Wait, Mila, we haven't heard yours. You want to go, Malia?
Yeah, I think like kind of what Alena was saying of like curating it depending on who you're giving it to. There's really only like 2 songs I feel like I would keep as like a staple, and then just like the other 3 would rotate, I guess, depending on who I'm talking to. But those 2 staples would be Blood on the Sheets and then Insatiable early mix.
Okay.
That song took me by surprise. I actually was not expecting to feel much because, like, all right, I've heard Insatiable numerous times. Always lovely, but that early mix, there's something about it. So yeah, I would keep those 2 staples definitely, especially with like because I live in Washington, so Blood on the Sheets I feel like would just hit with anyone that I give that to, because that whole like grunge feel, you know. But yeah, so just those 2 staples really.
I love that. Randy?
Yeah, I'll go really quickly.
Okay.
I love everybody's takes. This will be a set of collection that I'll just get to everybody. And be like, if you really want to get into these votes, this is what you're going to find. I think that these 5 songs encapsulate the groove and feeling of the vote material. So I'll first start with Glam Set 91, just because it's fun and
love it.
Get off. It's the Get Off basis. Basic. So if you listen to that and you listen to Get Off, it's like, oh, that's where it came from. So it stems. And plus, Glance on 91 was my like, oh, I got that track in the bootlegs. I feel like I'm elite now. And I'm not elite now. I played. The next one will be Something Funky, This House Comes. Because it's introducing the MPG, it's introducing the sound, it's introducing everybody's on the track. It's a feel good vibe. I would say though, and I told Jesse this because I remember we was listening to the podcast, the first episode, and they had a little snippet of that song. I was like, hold on, Jesse. I paused. I was like, dog, there's a better version than this one. So I played up the bootleg. I was like, this is the version they should have played because Rosie's voice is more loud. But anyways, that's just me. But yeah, Something This House Funky Comes. I'll have that for number 2. Number 3, oh, thank you. Yeah, give me Stevie Wonder vibes. That's
come on, Jimmy Jam.
I was trying to do Jimmy Jam. That's anyway, sorry. Let me get back on track. We're wasting time. Get Blue for all my R&B fans. That's in the middle of the album. That's the 1, 2, 3 punch. Like Alena said. I'm trying to capture the female them attention. Get Blue is that for that selection. Shout out to my Jamaicans out there. Anyways, tip of my tongue is the 4th one because again it's funky. It's the quintessential new purple swing. So I'll put that. And the last one, like Mila said, Insatiable early mix because again for the woman them. That's it.
Can we get a hashtag new purple swing in the chat? Can we get?
I'm not trying to. I don't know if I should say it.
Go on and say it, you guys.
This is why for you to say it.
I know you hate. I know y'all gonna be like, what? Get them off the screen. Let me tell y'all something. I love Prince's ballads. Okay, my favorite ballad is "Scandalous." Scandalous is. You even take a song like "One Kiss at a Time." I would take that over "Insatiable" because "Insatiable" for me, even the original version, it's just it's a no for me. But this is not to y'all know Prince got a lot of ballads, and that one is always given the "Insatiable." But for me, no, can't do it. But "Scandalous,"
Such a hater.
absolutely.
Boo! Tomato, tomato, tomato.
Enough.
I see you though. I see you. I don't agree, but I see you.
But wait, I had changed my opinion. This was one girl I was talking to, one of my first girlfriends actually in high school. She recommended me that song, and I was like, I didn't even know who Prince was. It's like, you should listen to "Insatiable." And I was like, and I heard it. I was like, oh, but I come from the church, man. I was just like, oh wow, this is very like, oh god. I was very, but I think in the canon of Prince's ballads, it does show the his vocals, right? The scream. That's what a lot of people I think like the most is just how he's able to stretch as he does. But if I'm trying to get like a ballad, something slow, I'm not playing "Insatiable." It's too much going on in that track. But "Scandalous," I can do that. But that's
Samantha
live is different.
She brought up a good point. She said that "Insatiable" and "Scandalous" are two peas in the pod. How could you not like one?
Because "Scandalous" is more. Prince himself made the crime, the passion, the rapture.
We're talking about the EP. We're talking about the song. You're talking about
the song. He just remixed it. But like when I listen to "Insatiable," I just feel my favorite part is the and then the scream. Like that's my favorite part. Yeah. Everything else, I'm like,
okay.
Throw the tomatoes. Just don't throw the tomato cans. That's all.
We're not gonna jump you. It's okay. We're not.
I personally love when people have their own opinions about
exactly.
I like the song, I don't like it. I'm all for it when people share.
Right.
I know everybody likes this song, but
exactly.
Right. More power to you.
And I can see it because if you look at the evolution of his ballads, it's definitely I can see why. Compared to like when you look at "Emancipation" and there's the "Dreaming About You," the "One Kiss," they're the natural evolution of Prince. I am all for Prince and growth, so I just like. I see your point. As much as my body's like, no, you listen to this on radio. Is it like this was the song that they would play on every? It's just I see your point though.
He got a lot of ballads. Like let's not act like Prince didn't make a ballad on every record, and some of those ballads people forget about, but
exactly. And it only gets better, so it's natural to like the more seasoned versions of Prince ballads than the start of all of it, right? We're gonna go into
I'm disappointed.
We're gonna go into the next question, and I want to get your take on this. Does the release influence future generations' perceptions of Prince and his artistic evolutions? How do you see this box set going in years to come with newer Prince fans? Like, what does that look like for you all? Or what are your opinions on that?
I think that this record will influence a lot of people, especially if they want to get into like early 90s music. Mm-hmm. Like this was the tip of New Jack Swing or New Purple Swing, like Randy said. So this does give a template to what Prince did in the 90s, at least the early 90s. And I think if you want an understanding of what it's like for an artist who had been in the game since 78 all the way into the 80s, and then he stepped into the 90s, the fact that he was able to flip it like that, knowing that his audience were just a lot of people from the Purple Rain era, and he's like, no, this is a new power generation. I'm introducing rap. I'm doing all of this stuff. It's definitely in your face, but it's laced with the Prince aesthetic, so where it doesn't overwhelm you and it doesn't feel too try hard. When I listen to Diamonds and Pearls, it doesn't feel like he was trying really hard. I hear that a lot for people, but I feel like this record was him being like, no, this is obviously the times have changed, and I have to now go along with that, and I'm going to give you my spin on it. And it was such a mix. Like just listening to a song like Get Off,
Yeah.
you got flutes, you got hard guitar, you got rap, you got a scream, like Rosie scream. In the beginning of like, that is such a mix of sounds. And I think when people hear it, for a lot of my mentees, when they heard Get Off particularly, they're like, oh, there's so much going on in the song. And you will listen to it and find other things going on in the song. The more you listen, you're not going to get the same experience. So I think just for that alone, it's worth a listen, because you're hearing the songs that didn't make the record still mesh so well. It could have easily made it. And I think even a song like Hey You, which was one of my least favorites, is not one of my favorites. I love that song because you just hear the energy, you hear the colorfulness, you hear the playfulness. And it's a great reminder that Prince wasn't held down by any style of music.
Of course, yep. That's a wonderful point. And I also love with Hey You, they have They'll Make It Mellow.
Right. Yeah.
It always reminds me of, like, I know, of course, this was first, but Free Zone by Janet Jackson. I'm always, exactly. So the joy that radiates from, that sample is just continuing upon both songs. So we're going to go on to the next person who would like to speak next. Who wants some opinion?
What was the question again?
Oh, you want me to repeat? It was just how does the release influence future generations' perceptions of Prince and his artistic evolution? And then also, like, how do you think the release will influence future generations in addition to that? Okay,
I thought my mic was on. Sorry, I'm like talking. Okay, how do I think it will influence? Well, the thing is, I think we like to say like 80s, or the older fans are stuck in the 80s, but I also think the younger generation is also being persuaded in that way as well, because this is all you see. This is the image that so many people have of Prince, and it's the one that's been passed along the most. So I think this release was really good for opening people's horizons for what Prince was and how vast his not only like vocal ability, musical ability, but just him as a person and his roots. Like Prince was so much more than Purple Rain in the 80s. It's been said time and time again, and I hate to sound like a broken record, but he was so much more than the 80s. And I'm glad that with this release, people are hopefully getting a glimpse into that. Hopefully my generation is getting a glimpse into that. We've gotten restored 4K videos and concert footage. I'm so happy about that.
We're going to get into Glam Slam in a minute.
Yes, I'm happy that, the Prince account is clipping portions of the concert and sharing that on social media. And I'm trying to share that with people. And, so I hope and pray that with this, newfound footage and the album that we've just gotten, that I don't know. I hope it broadens some people's horizons of what they think Prince is and what he is capable of. That's really all I can say. There's no guaranteed what'll come out of it, but I hope that with this release, people find a new appreciation for Prince and what he can do.
Yeah, I think what is striking to me about this box set is that it's an audio visual box set. It's not just sonics. It's, we have Glam Slam, which we could pick apart and just go, choreography to notes to harmonies to everything. There's so much of Prince's multifacetedness in that one visual representation that we have there, but also I feel like you could just actually see Prince in all of his glory in those shows. You just, and again, like if we're going back to the hip hop concept of things, there's hip hop radiating throughout all of Glam Slam, like the b-boying in the back, the Prince just, the DJ in the back, Prince just being Prince and doing the call response thing with the crowd. I mean, that's foundations of Black music, period. But, that's extremely important crowd participation, tongue twister, crowd participation is extremely influential in hip hop performance art, right? And then also just the circle idea of having a cipher around him. There's just so many influences from a hip hop perspective, just from a Black music perspective, that are here to be studied years as years go by, year round. And I'm excited to see what people, uncover in upcoming conferences. Like, this is just going to be an amazing study for people. And then also just down to the design boxing of the actual box set, I like to say, like, the photos Randy St. Nicholas actually shot with Ilford. Like, I'm a photo geek, so those little details are just things that send me over the roof. As an archivist, looking at how all of his work was digitized, these reels, and also his sheet music, his notes, all of this is going to be something that, future Prince scholars are going to study, and then the current Prince scholars are studying now. And it's just, I I can't wait to see what this generation or the next generation after us does with this box set, because it literally, what I see these box sets as are time capsules of Prince's work. So the essays, all of these are contributing to the historical documentation of Prince's work, in addition to what people did amongst the past, because we have to time mark how different generations view, or different time periods perceive Prince. So the evolution has to be documented in some way. So that's long story short there, that's what I see the future of this as. And just from a research aspect, and I mean, sonically, there's so much inspiration that you can draw from. Even just the idea of Prince going through his own, creative crisis, and then finding his sound within that. It's like, I had to go through this new Jack Swing phase. I had to go through all of these different genres to figure out where my footing was and how I was going to tackle these genres in my own way. So that part of the creative process, and that part of the experimental, I don't like when people say that, but the experimental phase, like, artists are supposed to grow no matter what, and they're supposed to go through different sounds to figure out how they're going to deliver their message into the world. And Prince did that on a daily basis. So I don't subscribe to that ideology, but I do think this was a peak creative period for Prince to figure out how he was going to fine tune what he would sound like in his 30s. And for the rest of the 90s to come, I think it laid the foundation very well. I think Graffiti Bridge was part of that creative process as well, but I really think Diamonds and Pearls cemented that I'm firm in that stance of where I'm going to be in the 90s, and then it just went up from there. But yes, so anybody else have anything to add to that question? No, we're going to move on.
I do actually have a little something, which, kudos to everything you just said. I agree 100%. Because that is something that I do think about often, or I try to think about when it comes to, the younger people. Like, I'm not one of them. like people who are going to be younger than us, coming into the fandom and whatnot. Just because I try to look at it outside of the Prince fandom, and like try to put myself in the headspace of someone who is like a younger person, maybe casually coming across Prince and whatnot, and just seeing how the estate either markets or doesn't market to them sometimes. And I don't know, like, it almost seems like there is a disconnect happening, and I don't really know how to put it all into words, but it's just what I'm seeing. And it's not like, I feel like with this box set, it definitely puts it out there of like, yes, this is a very staple moment, in his career and whatnot. But sometimes, oh my gosh, I don't know how to put it into words, and I'm like winging it off these questions you gave us. But there's something that, like, when it comes to an artist that came out in the 80s, I don't want to say he's not a relic, but sometimes I feel like when it does come to younger people, either teenage, our age, it's like, oh yeah, he's that dude that did Purple Rain. And then like, that's just kind of it.
Yeah.
Or if they are super into Purple Rain and then like they're really into it and they're digging it, and that, you know, for a lot of us, that was the gateway into this world, was Purple Rain. And there just seems to be this thing I see when there is someone like, oh yeah, Purple Rain, and then people are going, Purple Rain, whatever. Right. And then it kind of discourages people, and then they don't go any further than that. They just stop. And I feel like with the estate and either how they promote this to kind of keep it going, that's why like I wish that there was more behind the scenes footage that was released with this box set. I do feel like that was missed, to be honest, because I've noticed in the past couple of years, like, you know, when you look at social media, where most of us are, and finding new things to take in, like I said it earlier in one of the other panels, but like BTS content is the content. Like that's what everyone wants to see. That's why everyone was like so on it with Renaissance, because it's like she recorded everything and she showed us all the behind scenes, and she's been doing that for years. And it's like, I know Prince has it. Show it. Because, you know, you take they weren't doing, I'm not gonna say like, oh, they weren't doing it and they sucked. It wasn't that, because they did show some, obviously, taking those little clips, posting them online to get them on like TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff. But we need more. We need more like actually seeing him do it, because I don't feel like there's a lot of us in spaces where, you know, people are just keeping his legacy alive through word of mouth. You know what I mean? Like, how many of us are really sitting in here listening, to be honest, you know? So that's why, like, visually, they need more.
For sure.
Needs to come on with this.
For sure. And that's great, because I'm going to piggyback off your question, and I'm going to say, like, I wanted to ask, what do you feel like the estate could have, you know, held space for, as far as either it's visual or audio, like something that was missing to you? And this is offered as a critique, not as, you know, a criticism type, you know, energy. But I want to just ask you, like, since we're viewing this as a time capsule, what do you feel is missing? You know, like for me personally, it's part of the Black experience. I think the Arsenio Hall show, at least maybe on YouTube, or whether it was going to be in the box set or not, I think that is crucial to understanding Prince in his Black essence. So why, you know, I have questions to why it wasn't included. And it's probably a whole bunch of copyright mess. That's probably what it is. But like, you know, I still think there should have been some collaboration, maybe something of a testimonial from Arsenio Hall, like stuff like that. You know, people that were there that night. I feel like there's still some gaps that are missing within these box sets that will add to the whole cultural experience, because when we're looking at Black culture as a whole, it's important that we have testimonies from us, in which the essays were, you know. And I was so happy to see myself, and, you know, as a Black woman, to see these words and these love letters to Prince. But I also want to see that in the material. I mean, it's enough that Prince radiates Black excellence in all his glory, but I think there's still pinnacles in which, like, you know, that are part of a lot of people's childhoods, or even for people that weren't able to experience, but for us to sit in front of that television and be like, I wish I was there, or I could feel as though I was in that moment, and I want to take a time machine back to the 90s and feel like I was experiencing Arsenio Hall at that moment, or the, you know, the music videos, the Get Off home video situation. I just wonder what you guys feel was missing on top of all the stuff I mentioned. But if you want to dive into those things, but yes.
Yeah, I'll go. First, I would definitely say the estate did an incredible job. Like we all said, with the box set, it looks amazing. The way it was presented, the way it was marketed, you know, and in itself, because for all of us has seen 1999, the Purple Rain. I mean, listen, crazy. We came from a 3 CD set from Purple Rain. That edition to now we have a 7 disc and a Blu-ray to go along with it. It shows that the estate is growing, and I feel like with this release with Diamonds and Pearls, they really went above and beyond in terms of social media, in terms of yes, collaborating with different people, and also giving love
Yeah.
to the two creators like Mila and Alena. Just putting on that cosplay. It's like, yo, Diamonds Pro is coming out. I'm gonna present myself to market. What I really wish the estate would have done better. I would say maybe do like a little documentary on Diamonds and Pros.
Sure.
Yes, the podcast is beautiful, it's great, and I feel like everybody is a podcast listen, but like India, you just said this is a visual audio
Visual experience, yeah.
a project, right? A 30-45 minute documentary on Diamonds and Pearls, even an hour, just bring everybody together, seeing it. And I think that's what's important thing is because we can't go back in time and experience it because, we don't have no time machine. But the fact that we can watch it, interpolate it in our minds, like this is how people felt in 1991. This is how people felt when this album came out. This is how people felt when Arsenio came out. Because I could watch the Arsenio show and was like, yo, this is popping. This was a great performance. But I want to hear from people who was actually watching on that night, not knowing what the hell Prince was going to do that night, and seeing that in 10 minutes later after Diamonds and Pearls, after seeing that 1979 Kiss performance, all that, it's like blowing your mind. Yeah, I wish that was documented. I wish that was shown so that we can feel it. I think people want to feel.
Yeah.
Going back to the Renaissance film, right? Like I watched it last week. You saw the behind the scenes, right? You felt it. You felt the she really Googled how to get to the camera.
It's a 30-foot track.
Yes, I see this in Google. But like little stuff like that, little stuff that Prince, like little stuff like that with Prince, right? It really holds to a testimony that this guy was a regular guy. He was a regular guy. That was not his business. He was a master of what he did. 32, 33, a master of what he did, but he's also human at the same time. But he don't take no BS. You know what I'm saying? So I wish that this day would have shown, behind the scenes, did a documentary on Diamonds and Pearls, a little documentary, like I just saw somebody say on the Glam Slam. Glam Slam is great, and I know we're gonna get into that a little bit.
Like even that little slither of footage we saw at the end, just like
yes, it was like, oh, that's
like
exactly.
There is more of that. Like that's what I was.
Exactly. So just more behind the scenes. I would say more collaborating on social media because again, that's where we all are right now. And if there's some way we can get into that market of
and help,
or help or something like that, I think that'd be really important. Or even like say, I don't know, anybody in an MPG goes to say like I'm not gonna say like this gotta happen, but
Hashtag
say like a drinks chant podcast or these naturally branded.
I'm telling you,
but listen, we're talking about the audience and we're trying to captivate the audience.
Yeah,
you do gotta go where they went. You do have to go where they go. So I'm just saying maybe more visibility on that, but that's my idea.
Yeah, I echo your sentiments. I think those are great proposals. This has become Princemas wish list things, but yes. Anyone else have any additional critiques you would like to add about the Diamonds and Pearls box set? And I do want to echo the sentiment that like we are super appreciative because this could have not been a thing. It could have been Diamonds and what was the other one? Was
Diamonds and Love.
Yeah, it could have been a combination of Prince out. Exactly.
I'm glad they didn't do that.
It could have been something else, but it was totally entirely dedicated to Diamonds and Pearls. And I think it's best to take it one album at a time and not try to combine the two. I also want to say, like, for me, I would love to see this in theaters, like see Glam Slam, which we're going to get in theaters because I had the chance to see it in the Dobley Atmos Theater for a screening. And I feel like it could have been on the same level as Renaissance, like having people go out and even dress like they were part of Glam Slam, still have that same Beyonce Renaissance chrome idea. Like there could have been such a uproar for that. I just really believe in that. I believe that there would have been such a heavy movie presence in seeing Glam Slam live. And then even people just taking their children to go see this, or maybe not super young children, but like moderate, like teenagers and so on and so forth, but like going to take your family to see something or see Prince perform in this way would have been such a prolific movement. And it's kind of full circle because we did see that there were sightings of the Diamonds and Pearls Super Deluxe advertisement in the theaters, so it was cool. But then I was like, my heart was hurting because I want everybody to experience this how I experienced it, and I can't even telepathically send you what I experienced in that movie theater. And you feel everything because it was Dolby Atmos and you feel all those sounds coming at you. That's just a heightened level, and then for people that were able to make it at Paisley Park and watch it on the soundstage, those moments would have been crucial, I feel like, in the Prince community, just to have that theater experience. And it could be in the works. I don't know. I have no idea. But I still feel like we were missing that theatrical presence that really carries a lot of like music documentary work and music concert films. But yeah, that's part of my 2 cents.
Go ahead, Leah.
I'll make it super quick. I was just going to say, first thing off the top of my head that I remember left me just a little bit disappointed was the booklet itself. I felt like there were not enough unseen photos.
I agree.
I would have liked to have seen more photos that I didn't see in Chicago at the Prince exhibit, or I didn't see in Randy's book, or I didn't see at Paisley Park itself, or I didn't see used for promotion for this release. It would have been nice for them to save just a little bit of something for the book alone, just as an extra treat for those of us who made the move to, spend the money and purchase the book. So that would be my only. I could come up with more, but for now,
I agree with you because you saw Randy's exhibit at was it Celebration 2022, right? That she had she had the So, especially if you made that pilgrimage to Paisley Park, it's like, oh, dang, like I kind of saw that. So it's great to have it in physical form, but at the same time, you're like,
Right. Yeah, a lot of those pictures have been sitting with me for some time now because I saw them in 2022 at Celebration and then in Chicago. So it would have been nice to have like some little exclusive, some exclusive stuff, and then some more behind the scenes footage, like Mila said. I think those are the humanizing clips are the ones that kind of get pushed more. I'm not. I always have to be very careful how I choose these words because I don't want people to think I'm not a Michael Jackson fan. That is not the case. I love Michael Jackson, but Prince takes. I'm a Prince girl through and through. So my algorithm isn't tailored to MJ content, but every now and then it'll pop up on my feed. And when it is on my feed, it's like the never seen to me behind the scenes stuff, him in a limo chilling, kicking back, him shopping and saying, I'll take that. Exactly. Those are like the humanizing, like fun moments of Michael Jackson that just make me like, oh my God, I just love this guy. Like I'm not a fan in the way that a lot of people are. I would say most people are, because I would say 90% of the people I know just love Michael Jackson. I wish it were that way for Prince. Unfortunately, it's not. We all know why, commercial success and whatnot. But it's just I wish we had more humanizing moments like that with Prince, because we know it's there. We know it's sitting. Like someone said in the chat, he recorded everything. Right. He filmed everything. So if he filmed everything, then God damn it, I want as much as possible stuffed into these releases. So that we can spread the word.
Right. And part of me thinks is it in part to keep up with the mystique of Prince? Like, is that what's on their mind?
That's honestly what I thought, but I was like, you guys, I think he's open to change as well.
Yeah, I mean, he was about to open up.
Bring it.
Yeah, he was going to write a whole entire book. I mean, he had a book that was he was ready to open up to us in such a prolific way. So
I'm so tired. Sorry, India, but I'm so tired of listening to interviews and hearing people say he floated into the room.
I know.
Honestly,
Jimmy,
I took a picture and was there.
Come on, y'all. Speak on it.
Oh my God. I mean, I get it. I get what people are trying to do, but it's done. It's tired, and I'm ready to learn, and I'm ready for other people to learn new aspects of Prince. I don't want people to die thinking Prince was the man, the feminine man on the motorcycle. And that's the idea that I think a lot of people in our generation think. Yeah. Oh, that's just the guy on the motorcycle, the feminine dude on the motorcycle. And they walk around with his shirt on, the same picture, and that's all they know. That's all they know. And that bothers me. That's got to change.
Come on. On the soapbox. Let's go. Let's go.
Come on, man.
We got to speak real now.
You know? Come on, man.
And that's exactly, it's like, and how we relate to artists nowadays is at least, and I don't think this is nowadays, I think this is in general, like the personal aspect, the way in which you carry yourself, how you think. You know, we are so fascinated by what the mind does. And, you know, as human beings, we just want to know more. There's no stopping with us. So it is important for us to see that human side of him in all its essence, because that's how a lot of us relate to him. And I find myself relating more to the human aspects of Prince. You know, I mean, I relate to the music, of course, because he was in his music. All of everything that you needed to know about him was in the music if you pay attention carefully. And he talks about that all the time. But like the human, the physical, just human nature stuff, like the things that we do, like you talked about, like with Michael, shopping, doing all those, you know, normal things. We want to feel that closeness with figures like Prince. And I think that's the way you can get to the newer generation for sure, is showing that human side. And we live in an era where it's not so much humanness, like it's celebrity stan culture. No, like we need that. This is a person, you know, we need to see that personal side of Prince. And I want to end this. We're like almost at the close here, but I'm going to ask you this final question. I know I had so many questions lined up, but I'm going to ask you, I'm going to end you in with this final question. We didn't even get to talk about Glam Slam like that, but it's okay. We're going to watch it tomorrow. You know, you guys tune in for the next day, and that's going to be great.
You can spend a little bit more time. You can go a little bit over, because I would love to hear your thoughts about Glam Slam, if that's okay with everybody. And if you have to leave, just let me know and I'll pop you off.
That sounds great. Thank you, D'Angela.
Let's go.
Yes. All right. Let's talk about what were your initial thoughts in watching Glam Slam 92, and what parts spoke to you all as creatives? Because I know we're all creatives in this point, in this panel. So I would love to hear what your views are on Glam Slam. What do we want to talk about first?
Since I got notes for this one,
yeah, you got your notes, Randy. 4 pages.
I'll go after Randy.
Okay.
I won't spend too long on this, because you know you're the expert, not me. No. Anyways, I'll talk about it 2 ways. The first, the audio focus, and then the video. So the first time we heard about the show was through the audio when it came with the album. So when I first heard the live album, I took the structure of the Diamonds and Pearls tour, because I knew it really well in my head. Like I told myself when they made the announcement for the deluxe edition, I was like, do I know the concert in my head? So when the live album dropped, I could kind of like compare it back and forth. So I know the Earl's Court performance inside my head, up and down, left and right, choreography and all that. That's just me. Okay. So I compared the two. And I can say that Glam Slam 92, and for everybody out there on YouTube can agree, it's more raw. You know, it's defined. It's defined because if you look back on the history of the say 91 all the way down to early 92, he was performing these songs a lot. You know, just practicing not a lot publicly, but he's practicing a little bit publicly, but then also privately, he was just in the studio with the band and Paisley Park with the band, just rehearsing. So when it came up to Glam Slam 92, and you hear the rawness of, you hear the raw energy, it just gave like, when you just hear the announcer go, introducing Prince new project, and thunder just starts going off. It's like, oh, there's a lot going on, and it just cultivates you. Like, boom, we're here in the funk. We're here to just party, have fun. and you hear it in the audio. That was really that captured my attention, was just the energy of it, and everybody on it was just having fun. You just hear Prince just having fun with it. You hear the musicianship, the coach in him, the band leader in him, of just knowing that, oh, he's on switching to this, he's on signal this, and he does it. I'm like, cool. What I do like, the 3 tracks that I do like on the audio, when I was listening to audio, was Cream, where he just extended the intro. He was just on that riff for a good minute. He's like, under one, Maccabee. He was like 3 times. I was like, yeah, I'm funky with it. And then got the Cream song, then it just extended a little bit longer, and then went to Well Done. I was like, whoa. And I was singing with it. I was like, well done. I was like, I know this song. So I know this song. And then when Rosie just getting it, Sacrifice of Victor. I mean, come on now. Come on. Yo, shout out to the Steels. Shout out to the Steels.
Yes.
The Steels and Rosie Gaines. The Steels and Rosie Gaines. That's all I got to say. Next, Jughead. Oh, hurt me. Come on. When I heard that, I was like, yeah, all that Jughead hate, get out the door. That's the track right
gone.
there. Gone. So audio, I was like, yes, I'm in love with it. But inside my head, I was like, I know the video is gonna kill. It's gonna kill. Let's go into the video aspect. So when I got this beautiful baby right here, I was like, yo, F the audio. Give me the booklet. Go in the back of the book. Give me the Blu-ray. Put it on my PS4. Boom. I was watching it, but also I had plans that night too. So I was like, all right, let me give 2.5 hours to myself just to watch it. And then right after it was done, I was like, boom, I'm out the door. So, but taking it, first of all, I like the loose storyline that it had with the video, because I did not know that this whole joint started at what, a little bit after 11. I didn't know in Minneapolis in '91. Listen, I'm from New York City. We don't stop partying until 4 a.m.
All right.
I'm hearing that done at what, 1 or 12? I was like,
I think it's 1 or so. Yeah.
Whoa, too damn early. We just partying at 1. We started partying at 1. So just knowing that loose storyline was going on, I was like, all right, cool. It's in the back of my head, right? And you see the video, you see the energy Prince was just going. You just see him being happy with the band. And he's like, yo, this is my home. This is where I'm at, and I'm just gonna have fun doing this. And you see it. So even in the Sacrifice of Victor, my man just laying back, just chilling. He's like, yo, let the band just go. I'm just gonna be chilling. I'm gonna let the backgrounds. I'm just chilling, right? You see the stage. It's small, but they pull it, and it's like when you see people just being scrunched up in a hot house. Like, I know it's hot, but I know the music in there is smoking. I want to be there. And you feel that. We talked about feeling and being in that moment earlier, right? That was an exact moment when you just saw the stage and see everybody just getting ready for Will Enable. You see everybody just like scuffling, moving, getting prepared and all that. I was like, this is really dope. I'm seeing that it's really small, but they're all about the music, and that's what it's given. It's all about the music, right? Lastly, Prince dancing on the bar. That was fun.
That was fun. My favorite.
Are we talking about he's floating? He's always floating. Well, we saw behind the scenes how he floated. Yeah. My man just ran. And I was like, oh, we thought, where are we going? I was like, oh, we at the bar. My man just dancing in the bar. And I was like, this is a Prince I had never seen before in my life. I'm just great.
Saying though, he got to that bar mighty quickly, because the steps in the pathway to get down, speedy
Gonzalez. I was like, exactly. I see why he was a basketball player. I see why. But lastly, I'll end on with that. It was just energetic. I loved it. Glam Slam 92. I'm gonna go to revisit that and just study it, and just knowing that was a point of his life where, yes, Diamonds of Pearls came out, but also he was on Love Symbol album Mindset as well. He was recording it at that time. And if we're talking about the historical aspect of it, that's where he's like, oh, Warner Brothers told me to do what? Warner Brothers told me to do what? If I change my name, maybe. But he was in that mindset. And we talk about being 32, 33 years old, you get into your own sense. Like you're an adult. It's like, now I know what I want to do. I feel like when we hit 32, 33, hopefully all of us will know what we want to do in life. Right. So I'm ended there. Alena, it's all yours. You're better than me on this.
I'll make this super brief so everybody can throw in their thoughts on it. But Okay, so I had my first experience with this at Celebration 2022. And I was told for months and months and months prior to Celebration that you got to bring some tissue because that live on the big screen, that first experience is going to be crazy. And this was my first Celebration. So I was like, okay, I mean, I'll brace for it. I mean, if that's how it goes down, that's how it goes down. I'm just going to let the emotions flow. So I came into it with that expectations to maybe break down. When I tell you that is not at all what happened, because that show, I'm going to echo Randy completely, because that show was fun from top to bottom. It was such a good time. I couldn't stop jumping up and down, stomping my feet, banging my head. I was first row, so I'm on the stage like this, watching Tommy and watching everybody else play, and I'm beating on the stage, and I'm telling you, it was like I was there. I was there. And that's why I encourage anybody who missed the opportunity to see Prince due to youth or whatever the finances, whatever the situation might be, you have got to experience live on the big screen at least once in your life, because it is the closest thing we will ever get to seeing Prince live. And the band really took me there. I was telling India and Randy on Purple Townhouse that it was amazing to see when Prince cues band, or sorry, no, horns please. There we go. That's what I'm trying to say. Horns please. And they stand up. Oh my God. They actually like physically stand up in front of you and you see that. Oh my God. It took that show to a whole nother level. Yeah. But even watching it at home, the energy is just high from top to bottom. And I don't agree with fans who complained about not getting like a giant stadium show instead of the small club show. A lot of people were disappointed and felt like we should have got Earl's Court. But no, I'm so happy and so thankful that they stuck with it and gave us the small club show. It's so intimate, yet so big at the same time. And yeah, I'll end it there, but I can't get over it. I just watched it maybe 3 days ago, and it was like the first time all over again. I'm in love with it.
And that's crazy because I've seen it like maybe 2 times, one in the theater and then one at Paisley Park. And then, of course, I'm going to have my own experience here at my home. But like, I think Declan said it best in the International Lovers panel, is how it's best for us to have this intimate setting of Prince, because he's performing songs that are mainly condensed in the album, and then of course the Love Symbol album, those combined. But whether like if we had Earl's Court, we'd have hits, it'd be a combination of that. But this concentration, there's something about seeing Prince in his own house, and tearing it down and not caring about whether the cops are coming or not. This is my space. I'm going to dominate this space. I'm creating this space for other people to just wild out and do their thing and be free. There's something about that I would never trade for the world. That was the experience that I wanted, because I felt like I could be free in those moments. When I was at Paisley Park, I felt freedom, ultimate freedom. When I was in the theater, I felt like I could stomp, clap, sing around. I was singing Joy Around the Corner like nobody's business. This might sound a bit blasphemous, and I apologize, but I had said in the Purple Town Hall that it sounded like I was in church and the club at the same time with Sacrifice of Victor, because it's like the transitions are like, oh, wait, okay. But, you go into, he's like, Deacon, all of that. So there's such an amount of it. I have a connection to the Black church as well. I think Jesse had made that point earlier, but like the freedom, again, that's all I keep thinking about is freedom, and the idea of just us existing in this joyous space. Like, you could just do what you want. And I think that's just what draws the viewer in so much, is that you see Prince, although he's tight, he's got his band together and all of that. And, there's all these things going on in this small space. It doesn't matter where you are, as long as you bring that spirit with you, is going to turn that place out no matter what. And but anyway, that's just one thing I wanted to add on. So does anybody else have anything they want to add to this Glam Slam experience?
Yeah. Oh, where are you trying to go?
I was like, you can go ahead.
On mute.
Either way.
But definitely watching Glam Slam, it just reminded me that he's such a giving artist, you know, like I think most artists are pretty giving when they're doing it right, I think. But such a giving artist of his energy, of what he was giving to his band, what he was giving to the fans out in the crowd. And I will say, like, with that show, and I guess just with this whole era of Diamonds and Pearls, or him coming into the 90s, like, it really just, to my ear, like, it just felt like home in a way. And, you know, the power in Black church music is a, like, how do you even put it into words? I feel like even saying just immensely strong just isn't even enough. Like, it just provokes this energy. Oh my gosh, I'm getting teary-eyed, bro. Like just thinking about everything coming together on that stage, it really did bring a lot of emotion that I wasn't expecting to feel, because it just felt like home. It just felt like he was just there in the moment. As you guys were saying, he was just so free, and it was just so inspiring to see that on stage. And it was just like, yeah, like, I feel like there's moments where I guess if you do start leaning into like how Prince may be seen in the mainstream, it might feel like he's not for us, or he wasn't with us. But it's like, that was a moment to, like, I don't know, it's like a reminding moment. It's just like, yes, this is like, he's our man. Like, that's our guy up there.
That's
like, this is our sound. That is our style. Like, that is us. It was just like a very, I don't know. I wasn't expecting to cry, but it's like, yeah, that it felt all the feels. I'm really complicated when I'm trying to explain my feelings, but you see it.
I feel you. No, you got me teary eyed now.
Yeah, like,
I'm over here trying not to cry.
No,
I love it, but this is the joy. See, do you see, like, the love that we have for Prince is unmatched. That connection is so solid. Again, Black man joy, what D'Angela said earlier, like that. And then for us to feel that from the screen, like for it to be 32 plus years later and still feel that in its strong, in its strongest form, and it feels stronger than ever. And knowing how much we've been through as a people, it just resonates 10 times more. I just think, and especially coming out of COVID, coming out of all of these, you know, we've got war going on, we're experiencing genocide, just to have that slither of joy for us to experience at this moment means the world to us, you know. I can't even.
That was so wonderfully said. Like, oh my goodness. Yeah, this show really reminded me how much Prince took his music seriously, beyond just the instrumentation, just making sure everything was right with the sound, how he always made clear that when he was on stage, it was like the last time. Like, you're going to perform like it was the last time, whether it's 10 people. Like, I've been at Paisley shows with just like 5 people, and I've been to big shows where it was thousands of people, and it didn't matter. He really put on that show. And to see it, I like how India mentioned it was like church and the club.
Yeah.
That kind of dichotomy. I never really looked at it like that, but that's absolutely right. Like, that's what really got me into Prince, was his spiritual aspect, but how he kind of contradicted that with the sexual aspect. It was like, well, you would think it's a contradiction, but it's not. He sort of like turned it on its head, and he made you see that all of those possible realities of spirituality and carnality can exist in a space if you're searching for a higher calling or a higher name. And this show like really signified, because I've seen pretty much all of the shows that have been publicly out there, all of the bootlegs. This was like one of the first shows, obviously, most of us have never seen at all. And so seeing it for the first time and seeing it over again since I've seen it the first time, it's like, man, that's why I love this dude. Like, the color that he's able to just express on stage with the emotion and his funniness, like the Get Off performance.
Yes.
I don't serve ribs. You know, like the facial expression, like all the things he puts in there, even when he's like with the band and he's like all the things he does is obviously he has a method. He knows what he's doing. He's rehearsed it. And he got to a point where he was like, I am music. Like, I don't play music. I am music. Like, I exist with music, one and the same. And whoever's going to this show, I mean, and he talked like this to his band, like, hey, y'all, I know we can, you know, we laugh, we fun and all that. But when it comes to this music thing, I am serious about this. Yeah. And that seriousness is displayed in the demonstration of his performance, because as fun and as hype as Prince is, you can see everyone is like, okay, let me make sure where my note is, you know, because Prince is paying attention to all of that. And so this was just a perfect, I think, for the youth, someone who's not really familiar with Prince, who I always say the first thing, especially for folks now who've not had a chance to see Prince, you have to see something live of this man on stage. Obviously, being at Paisley would be even the creme of the creme, but if you can't make it to Paisley, go to YouTube, watch Montreux 2009, watch anything that, you know, these shows where Prince has performed, and you will be able to see it. You'll be able to feel it. You'll be able to get it. It hits on all of those levels, all of the sensory levels. It's like this man took music so seriously that he played it every day. He rehearsed it, but he was still humble enough to know that those who were joining in that music with him, whether it was the audience or the band members, you can get on one accord. And that's what the Black church, you know, the church is all like, get on one accord, you know, you're on one accord, you tap in, you will, you know, it is emotional. And I can appreciate just what Mila said, because it's like, man, that's the feeling I had. It's like, man, it's just, you get emotional when you think of all of the things he's done. And as Alena said, like, we can't just regulate it to Purple Rain, because this man did, like, since he arrived on the scene, he didn't have a break. You know, he may have not done an album in 2005 or 2008, but if you look at all of those times he did albums for other people, he constantly, you know, paid it to his service to play for us. It's like, this is my, I am here to play for you all. Like, this is who I'm, that's why I'm here for. And I'm glad that he did that. And I'm glad that this particular performance was able to showcase how fun it was for him. It wasn't just like work. It was clearly fun, but it was something he did from his heart. And it's a wonderful example of his musicianship, for sure. That Get Off performance, all of the performances are great, but that Get Off performance, when I first saw that clip that they posted on YouTube, like, come on, pure yellow, all yellow, like, you can't look, you look, and that's showmanship. You know, changing, even when he changed on stage for Jughead, on stage changing, not missing a note.
The tie, like, was,
I mean, crazy.
I can't. I have to tell you how, like, as somebody who's never been able to see Prince live, I'm not going to say that it fills the void, but it filled it up pretty good. Yeah. This was the experience that I was waiting for. And I don't want to see, because we're all emotional right now. And I'm trying not to get in that space, because I will cry. I am a cry baby.
Let it out, girl. Let it out.
Studio baby, okay? I will cry along with you, because it's, you know, that was what I was looking for. I've never felt something tap my soul as much as that Glam experience did. And, yeah, Randy, we're going to get into you. Oh, I also want to say Thieves.
That guitar, man. Hold on.
And then even Rosie, we haven't talked about Rosie nearly as much, but I want to say Rosie Gaines. And just to hear her, like, I think Prince was singing, was it Insatiable, when she was like, go on, Prince, in the back, like, rooting him on, that brother-sister relationship that they have. You saw that play out on screen as well. Like, I love Rosie. That's all I have to say about Rosie, is that I love her. She is just this powerful, supreme being. Like, she is just everything. She could do it all. It's just
the rapping, like when she rapped.
What? Yeah. And she's by far one of the illest female MCs. Not even really like.
Hell no.
You know?
Come on.
Yeah, Rosie is a gem. She is a true gem.
A diamond.
One in a million. One in a million.
Mm-hmm.
One in a
Absolutely.
million.
I like how Michael Bland said the second coming of Aretha Franklin. I'm like, that is a wonderful way to describe.
I mean, she ain't lying.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Just a powerhouse. I'll even add on the location, Minneapolis. Like again, that was on the second episode of the podcast, right? And I didn't realize how powerful Minneapolis was for Prince at that time, and transporting me back to that Grand Slam show and knowing that he did it in Minneapolis, his hometown, where he can be comfortable and just express how he expressed his freedom, his energy. He was tapping into hometown. He's like, "Yo, I need your energy. I'm always here."
Minneapolis, you know me. Do you know me?
Come on.
What do you say? If it ain't from Minneapolis, it ain't shit.
It ain't shit. And
like, wait.
But if you peep this too, right? Every single album he's about to drop or even go on a tour starts with Purple Rain, not Around the World, but Parade, and then Signs of the Time. I don't know about the Love Sexy, and if this state got some rehearsals on Love Sexy tour, y'all better put that up before. Anyways, and now Diamonds and Pearls, you see that before he goes on tour, he does that one-off concert in Minneapolis. He's like, "Yo, before I go on concert, let me get your energy." And I think Minneapolis is very important to him to get that energy back. Like, "Yo, I was here because y'all taught me music, and I'm going to leave here with your energy and throw it out around the world. The world is going to experience MPLS energy." So that's what I want to add on a little bit.
All right. Anything else before I ask my last question? Any last thoughts about the amazing Glam Slam 92?
I will add, sort of also in Glam Slam, like the live performance, but I can't remember in particular which vault track it is in the box set. But like recalling to a moment where I think Prince said like, "Oh, if horn players want to like learn like different like sounds to play with, like, oh, listen to like, you know, women singing, like R&B women like singing and whatnot." Because there was a point where I was just like, you know, some of these horns sound like Rosie. You know, like I could hear it, and I was like, yes. But yeah, that's another thing to add on Rosie's like influence on this whole moment. I'm like, I hear her all the way down into the instruments.
Yes, and knowing how much Prince preferred the female vocal, you know, I think that also has a lot to do with how those horns came out, and you know, of course, Rosie's positioning with that. But that's an amazing point to bring up. I love that. We're gonna end with this final question, you guys. I don't want to go. This is fun. You know, but we got to wrap it up sometime. We can't be here all night. We in somebody else's house. We can't be here all night. But
if you want to come to the Purple Townhouse and hang out, you can follow us on Twitter at the Purple Townhouse. I just got to put that in there. Sorry, I had to put that in there.
I have some manners here, some decorum. Okay. My final question to you all, and I love just kind of like throwing people back into this time, or like if you were their situation, again, time capsule, or I mean a time machine type situation. Imagine, I want you to guys imagine that this is, you know, kind of like a Prince celebration space, but it's 1992. So like kind of what he did with Rainbow Children, where he had all these people around him and just sitting and taking all of this input and having this dialogue with them, right? What question would you ask, or what thing would you tell Prince as it relates to the Diamonds and Pearls Super Deluxe, or just Diamonds and Pearls in general? I just want to imagine that he's there with you, and he is to some degree. Like I think Darling Nisi pointed out on Twitter, is that he is with us in spirit. But just think about, what would you say to Prince at this moment if he were still with us physically, and you were in that type of setting? This is such a deep question. I'm sorry. It's kind of hard to be like.
A deep question. I'm gonna go with the last. I'm gonna say what I would ask him about is "Live for Love," which is the last song on the album. I would ask him what made him find it so important to include these messages in his music, because you know, you hear "Live for Love" and you think that's just cheesy, but he's really talking about like being, you know, you're in the war, you're in the army, and like what decision are you making? And like, I feel like that's such a crucial element to this whole record. Like it is there are many political angles that he's speaking, like Money Don't Matter Tonight, of course. And I just think when he ended it with that solo, and he's ending it with all of these messages that the listeners having to take in after you get through Daddy Pop and Walk Don't Walk and all these other things, what made him end it on that? And I'm sure it wouldn't be no cheesy, well, we gotta live for love. Like, I feel like he would go beyond that. Like, because love for Prince, even if you think of Love Sexy again, 1988, and how Prince always mentioned love, it wasn't just this static motion. It was something that had to join forces. It was circular. Like, love has to be distributed. Otherwise, it's a blood clot, right? So, like, Prince was all about, like, making flow with everything. So I would really ask him what made him design the Diamonds and Pearls concept, and how that flow prepared him for the next, where he went with the love symbol, because that clearly came afterwards, and it was kind of on that same trajectory, a little bit more expanded. But like it was mentioned, I feel like Diamonds and Pearls provided the template before we got into, because that's obviously identifiable. And then the next record, there's no name. Like, he's like, my name is Prince, but don't call me Prince. Okay. So, like, I would be curious to know what brought that transition.
That's a great question.
I'll be on the same vein as Jesse as well, more so in the spirituality element. Just because, coming out from Graffiti Bridge, I would say it's a pretty spiritual movie. As you can say, there is a lot of spiritual elements throughout the movie. And even going in the album 2 hours before that, Love Sexy, I feel like he was on his Love Sexy mode from 88 to say 90, late 90. He was on his Love Sexy mode and telling us that, God is love. Love is God. Boys and girls love the God above, right? Now coming into Diamonds and Pearls, it's like, not that he's straight away. I don't think he's straight away. I think that he was learning different spiritual elements. Because again, you hear on Thunder, you hear the Middle Eastern guitar riff in there. Yes, he's saying Jesus. Look at Pretty Bridge Music, Love Sexy Musical. But yeah, you hear Jesus in Thunder. Then after that is I think he replaces God with love, as we hear all the time. But I would like to ask him, like, where are you spiritually, and where you want to take that part of music, because it is a part of him. It's been embedded in him since Controversy, So, like, I would like to know where are you spiritually wise, and where do you want to take that music with them?
My girls.
I'll go. I think I would have asked Prince what his process is for deciding whether a song is right for a particular project or if it's going to be shelved. Because I think, if anything, what this album taught us, or this release taught us, is that this man had records and records and records sitting in the back that he could have just pulled and flip, and it would have fit. But for whatever reason, he was like, it's great, but it's not ready yet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would love to know his process for this is good, but not now. And I'm sure there's a multitude of reasons for that, whether you hear it and you're like, I feel like that would work better with a female voice, or maybe I want to work on that at a later time. I'm not feeling it. Maybe you lost the groove in it and you're like, I'm going to pick that up when I feel it again. I'm sure there's a multitude of reasons, but I would like to go track by track with them and be like, so why this one, or why not this one? And, not to undermine the package that we got, because before this release, I regarded Diamonds and Pearls pretty high up there. I love that album, still do love that album, regardless of what we've been handed in the past few weeks. But yeah, I'll just be curious about that process and how he eliminates ads. Yeah.
Alrighty.
I feel like this was a hard question.
No, these are beautiful.
Maybe it's just my lack of prep for this. But I honestly don't have a question off the top of my head. I feel like I would just be making statements of like, well, Caligula was an interesting choice to your inspo.
That's part of the question. That's perfect.
That's really honestly probably just to thank him for, you know, making the album and whatnot.
I think my question would be, what did you learn about yourself in the process of creating this album, in this turning point for you in your career? What was the biggest lesson, and what did you discover about yourself that you had not known at that point? You know, what level of self-awareness did it bring you to? That would be my question. But thank you all. We're gonna end it because we're over time, but we had a good old time, you know. And I just want to say some ending notes here. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to listen and join in on this conversation today. Again, I want to extend my ample gratitude to D'Angela, Arthur, and team for inviting us to your platform and celebrating Diamonds and Pearls. And congratulations to you, D'Angela, for such an amazing essay. I love it so much. I'll tell you my thoughts about it at a later date. But I just want to say congratulations to you. And it is always said by D'Angela that like one of her goals of this platform is to keep Prince on the lips of the children, but it means more that you know to actually have the children on here to freely express ourselves. And there's not many safe spaces for us to do so. So I appreciate you just opening up your platform and allowing us to just be us, you know, and just love on Prince like we do. And it's not lost on me how much hard work it is to plan all of this greatness. So I just appreciate you. Thank you for extending our time limit and letting us just, you know, geek out about Prince. It's everything. And then I just want to leave with this lasting note. The New Power Generation was the culmination of all generations working together to embody university, diversity, freedom, and unstoppable free-form creativity. If we could all apply this to our purple community and how we see one another in all age group, we would be doing our a service to our brand leader, which is Prince, you know, in essence. And if you haven't taken anything away from this next Power Generation panel, I hope it is that the youngsters are here to stay. We are creating around our love for Prince. We are doing the work, and 32 years later, we are still in awe of Prince in all his glory that radiates from the 90s and before the 90s and after and what is to come. Massive thanks to the estate for putting together such a beautiful box set for our listening pleasure. And that's all that I have today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's all I can say. And thank you so much to these wonderful panelists, because they're the best. Like, come on, guys. Like, I got to give it up to you guys because you were just amazing. Again, like I said, I'm fans of all of you. Like, I just love everything that you do and all your perspectives that you bring in the Prince world. And I just love you guys. I love all of you.
This return. Love all of y'all. Thank you for this opportunity. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I am so moved that it's going to be hard for me to talk. But I'm going to try. First and foremost, I always do these things for Prince. It's the only reason why I do this. And the reason why I do it for Prince is that Prince is the one thing that has been consistent and constant in my life. I can always count on Prince. I could when he was alive, and I can now. And my goal with doing this stuff was to reach if I could reach one person and convince them of the power of music, which I think is being devalued almost on the daily. It's going to get harder and harder for a musician to make a living. And music is one of the most powerful things on the planet. And Mila, when you spoke about how the Glam Slam show is almost like a spiritual experience, that's the reason why I had to come on stage when Zach, who I adore, it's just that when I heard you speak, Mila, I knew that you knew, you understand what Prince means to us on a spiritual level. As one of our family friends say, this is serious business. Prince is not just a pop star. He's not just a musician. He's not just an entertainer. The reason why I'm taking time out of my life to do What Did Prince Do This Week, every single week, for the next 3 to 5 years, as long as I can do it, as long as I'm on this earth, is to show how much time and hard work that Prince put into making all this stuff for us. He did this for us, to have something to hold on to when the world doesn't give you that much to hold on to. You can hold on to Prince. So right now, in this moment, I'm sorry taking so long. I could stop now. I'm so happy.
Oh.
No, that you guys got it. I am so happy to know that Prince's name is going to continue. This is the only reason why I'm doing this, and I know now that you guys are going to carry it. This means so much to me. You have no idea. So thank you. And I apologize for getting so emotional, but this is serious business. So thank you so much. And
Thank
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
moderator.
Thank you for having this space.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Every year, I'm always looking forward to symposiums. I'm just like,
Always. This is how
I gotta
we
go.
learn.
yeah.
Exactly. Some of us are students, like we were.
Yeah.
Like, we're students, and we follow you and those that have taken their time to make it a point to acknowledge Prince and all of his contributions. The work that Prince talked about in the Rainbow Children, and even before then, reproduction of the new breed, leader, stand up, organize. That's what we aim to do. So thank you.
All right.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
you.
I'm going to put myself together, and Arthur and I are going to take us out, but I'm going to remove you guys one by one. Please know that I love this panel. It was so amazing. I'm so happy that you guys were the last panel so that you could actually go over, because I thought the last question that you asked, India, was brilliant. And if you wouldn't have had the opportunity to ask that question, even though I didn't know your questions, I think we would have been better. You know, we would have lost something by you not being able to ask that question. So thank you for the time that you put to actually craft the questions. Thank you all for your heartfelt answers. It means so much. I just can't say enough. So I'll stop talking. I'm going to remove you one by one. Have a great evening, rest of your day, wherever you are.
Thank you so much.
See you mañana. See you mañana.
Thank you.
All right. It takes a while for me to get one by one. Thank you, India. You're the best. All right. I am so emotional, but I'm going to try to get it together. Oh, boy. Arthur, take it away while I'm going to share the screen. Is there anything you'd like to say about the next power generation?
I knew it was going to be good. I was waiting for it. I knew it was going to be good. I like that. I like that they claimed their fandom and owned it. I like that they criticized is the wrong word. It's not really what was going on. But speaking to the idea of the dearth of Purple Rain shirts that are on younger people, I know myself, picking up my daughter from high school, I've seen, you know, several students with shirts of not just Prince, but also other figures like, you know, Ice Cube or Tupac or Notorious B.I.G. or Boys in the Hood, the John Singleton film, you know, and they don't necessarily know about the shirts that they're wearing, so they don't really have the opportunity or take the opportunity to appreciate or learn about the stories, you know, of those individuals and how they affected music of that day, their parents at that time, and don't see the connections that are actually being made from those individuals to the people that they're listening to, you know, right now. And that the Next Power Generation panel spoke about that and spoke about the need to change that. Was really encouraging that Prince won't be, you know, relegated to the cover of, you know, Guitar World magazine every, you know, year in the same way that Jimi Hendrix has been relegated, you know, to that, and where Prince becomes much more than just an icon or a slogan or a catchphrase. You know, and you and me, you know, and our Gen X family, you know, don't look like crazy people because we're always, you know, hammering on how Prince is much more than what, you know, would appear just, you know, on a wrapper, so to speak. So day one, it's been pretty good. It's been pretty good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to day two tomorrow, where I'm more than happy to be here with you first thing in the morning, ready to go. But I'll also be able to put on my panelist hat because I've got a lot of feelings about this about this album. So many feelings.
So what I want to do really quickly, we won't be here much longer, but I do want to talk a little bit about what's happening tomorrow. And I want to pull up our website. And I want to kind of do a little recap of the day because we did have a great day. Some of you are just now getting here and you may not have had the opportunity to experience what we've been able to experience, but everything is archived on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. So you can catch up before tomorrow if you need to, at least with some of the panels. So we start off the day with our International Lovers panel, and we had an amazing conversation, a really strong start with Casey Rain moderating, and we had Karen and Declan and Adam from Australia, and one of my favorite Prince authors, Matt Thorne. And then we had, I just knew they were going to bring it, the fellows panel. Michael Dean is the best at moderation. I love Michael Dean as a moderator, interviewer. And we had Big Sexy. I knew he was going to school us on what audio gear we needed to have and video gear for the Dolby Atmos. And then we had Prince's friend. We had Law, who brings mad energy. Nicolay for keeping it real. And Ricky for just his memory. He remembers things about me that I don't remember. And then when he says them, I go, oh, yes, I remember them. So Ricky is really incredible for events like this because he remembers the details so well.
He puts you in that puts you right in the moment.
Yeah, like you're experiencing it in real time. And then we followed that up with the writers panel where they really went into some deep conversations, and we had the extraordinary, the one and only, there can never be another, C. Lee, and I'm so grateful to call him my friend, and I get to talk to him often, and I love that. I wish I lived in Mississippi sometimes so I could just go by and crash sometimes, but I don't. But I love our virtual time together. And then I had my triplet, Camila, and then we had Zach, and we had my brother, Harold Pride, because Harold hasn't been with us in a while, so it was a pleasure to have him with us. And we had Scott Woods, the singular Scott Woods, I love Scott so much. And then we just experienced our next Power Generation, which was so incredible. I am so grateful that they wanted to participate, because they could have said, you know, we want to do our own thing, you know, thanks, but no thanks. But they said yes, because they didn't have to say yes. People think that people say you have to say yes. No, they don't have to say yes. So thank you so much, India, Mila, Randy, Jesse, and Alena, very much for all of your amazing feedback and your Prince knowledge. And yes, it's all about the Love Sexy button, as we know. We love the Love Sexy button. So let's talk about what's happening tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was going to be my whole.
Oh, you can if you want. You want to do it?
I can do that? Okay. Yeah. This is my only chance to really do the whole color commentary, you know? Because when I do the podcast thing, I'm always a host. So it's always, I got to defer, got to hold certain voice and all of that. So yeah, I can kind of get loose. So tomorrow you have assembled the essayists of the Super Deluxe box, in which you, Nisi, are part of it. I just feel like I got my name into the book because you all, bro, I like living vicarious through you. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. It's going to be you, Jason Draper, Andrea Swenson, Dwayne Tudall, Kanisa Williams, moderated by Elliot H. Powell, which is going to be great. He's an excellent moderator. We are going to have the For You crew, 4 individuals whom you assembled in 2017 for your first symposium on Sign of the Times. And every year you have been able to keep this group together. You have graciously included me as the resident music snob. And I have thoughts and feelings, and I am so ready to completely go off and rant and do my thing. We have the ladies panel, Miss TLC, Rhonda Nicole, Tanya Pugs, Toya Pendleton, Laura T-Burt, moderated by Kanisa Williams. And I'll let you go with the special event, the capstone of the conference.
Yes. So I am super excited. So the first thing I wanted when I heard about the announcement of the box set was the Glam Slam show, because I also saw the big screen at Paisley Park in 2022. I can't remember who said this, but that was by far my favorite thing I've ever experienced at any celebration that I've been. And I've only been to what I call post-Prince celebrations, because I refused to go to Minneapolis when Prince was alive, because I knew that I would never return. So Minneapolis was my kryptonite, and I never went. I was like, I'm not going, because I knew I wouldn't never come back. So I'm excited that we're going to have this DIY, because we can't stream it. So if you come here expecting to see the Glam Slam show, you're not going to see it, because you have to stream it on your own devices. And we're going to have a live commentary from 4 of my favorite folks as we watch it together. So one of the commentators will be none other than Celie, as well as Nicolay and Camila, who we've all heard from earlier today. But the 4th panelist is my very dear friend from the ATL, Mr. Funk Jazz Cafe himself, Jason Orr, who is also a massive Prince fan. And so he was actually with us when we did something similar for the DM40 GB30.
That's right.
Symposium. We actually watched the Dirty Mind Ritz show with Vernon Reed, Andre Simone, Nicolay, and Jason, which was one of my favorite things that we've done. And the other favorite thing that we've done is when we did the live commentary with Jill Jones and Jerome Benton, alongside Michael Dean and Big Sexy, watching Graffiti Bridge, and having Jill watch Graffiti Bridge for the first time is also one of my favorite things. But the Glam Slam show is such an incredible document. I am so happy that anyone who has the funds to do so can have this. I mean, I do agree it would be great if it was sold separately so that more people could have access to it, because like the panel that we just saw, that our next power generation talked about at one point, is you have to see Prince perform.
Right.
That is like paramount. And I think that this document rivals, I never thought I would ever say that, I'm clutching my pearls, might even rival Sign of the Times Live. And I know everybody always goes and say, that's not really live. You know, it was filmed on the stage, but there's something about Sign of the Times Live that's important to me. But it kind of goes back to what I was trying to explain, was the sense of the Black joy, that it's so important. And Prince was that incarnate, because I normally go to Prince for freedom. Like, freedom is the number one reason why I was drawn to Prince. And joy is also something that was obviously very important to him. Through Under the Cherry Moon, you can see that, you know, he loves pranks, you know, he loves laughing. He also want to instill in us a sense of joy. And I think the Glam Slam show is a really great evidence, you know, of that. And we can share in that joy. So I'm really looking forward to the screening tomorrow. And I hope that all of you are too. All right. Anything else? Are we good?
I got a lot, but I'll just wait till tomorrow.
Yes. So we are going to be back here tomorrow morning, 9:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is New York City time. I hope that you'll come back for day 2, because day 1 was pretty darn incredible. It really was. Every single time we do this, Arthur, and like Triple Threat was pretty darn amazing.
Yeah.
And, you know, but then before that, Sexy MF 30 was pretty darn amazing. And I always go, I don't think it could ever get any better than that. But then the next time is always just as amazing. And also, we got to give a shout out to everybody who's in the chat, holding it down.
The chat has been live like all day. The chat, it's its own panel.
Yeah. Yes.
For real. The chat is its own panel.
Yes, it really has been. So thank all of you who have been here since early in the morning. Those of you who just been popping in and out, we love all of you. I love the Prince community, and that you guys keep coming back. And thank you so much for staying for the next power generation. That was so great. All right, so we're gonna go. That was very special, very, very special. So I'm gonna end with this, a quote from Arthur there. The chat is its own panel. I love that. Oh, thank you so much, Declan. I really appreciate that. All right, so now it's time to go eat, at least for me. So I'll see everyone tomorrow. Thank you so much, Arthur. Oh, and one thing I think I didn't do today that's so important, I have to give a mad shout out to Reverend for the graphics this time. Oh my God, the graphics for this are incredible. I'm so grateful to Reverend, and sometimes I forget to post when I post all the stuff, because I'm social media illiterate at times. So mad shout out to Reverend. So have a great night, everyone. See you tomorrow.
See you in the morning.